So it's really easy to feel behind in life these days, especially when your social media feed is full of people starting million-dollar businesses, going on luxury vacations, buying houses, while you're still sitting here working on your New Year's resolutions from 2023. I see you. And you know what? This doesn't feel good. It impacts your self-esteem, and you basically just fall into a pit of self-doubt. But there's an interesting plot twist to this because you're doing a lot better than you think. I actually think there's a ton of things in life that you're probably overlooking that signal to me that you're doing amazing, sweetie. So let's take the comparison trap blinders off, and I'm gonna show you the biggest signs that you're missing. Like starting with this first one that completely changed the way I think about progress. And it is the simple fact that you fail often. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, excuse me, Christina, isn't failure a bad thing? I mean, yeah, sometimes, but what it tells me actually is that you're trying.
Kids, you tried your best and you failed miserably. The lesson is never try.
But if you're a recovering perfectionist like me, then I can totally relate that we hate to actually be seen trying because we hate the feeling of one, not being good at something right away, but two, I think it's just really uncomfortable to feel like a beginner. At the end of the day, I think we all start somewhere, and I think one of the biggest signs that you're doing a lot better than you think is that you're just willing to try and you're willing to be bad at something for a little while. If I hadn't posted my first YouTube video, which was awful, by the way, I posted it using my iPhone. I had no idea what I was doing, but look at me now. And especially if you've been doing something for a long time, like if you look at your first attempt at whatever skill that you're trying to build, if it doesn't make you cringe, then I think that's actually a problem. And you know what? I think a lot of people say they want to do things, they want to start new skills, they want to explore new hobbies, but I find it's just so easy to, instead of actually do the thing, they just kind of prepare for that perfect scenario. So if you're in that kind of awkward and cringy phase where you're trying something new, you're failing, you're feeling uncomfortable, you're actually kind of bad at it, then you know what? Congratulations. You're actually a lot closer to success than the people who are just thinking about getting started. I think effort is cool, and you know what? I'm going by the saying, I am cringe, but I am free. Which brings me into point number 2. And there we go. It is that you can call yourself out on your own bullshit. Yes, I'm sorry, I said it. That might sound a little bit controversial, but as someone who used to play a professional victim for years, that is one of the main things that I had to do to start changing my life and moving it in the direction that I actually wanted it to go. And this is definitely not about like toxic positivity and like pushing through and staying hard like all David Goggins, Jocko Willink, whatever. This is really truly about how you have control over how you respond to things. Your situation may not be your fault. There's a lot of things at play that contribute to where we potentially are in life, but it took me almost a decade to figure out that I have a role to play in that. Like if you're new to this channel, then you might not know that I used to be in over $120,000 of student loan debt. And on top of all that, I was a compulsive and emotional spender. And I used to walk around like, oh, woe is me, with like the little smallest violin in the world all the time. And I'm not saying that that financial stress wasn't valid, but I spent so much time and energy pretty much blaming everything else I could, except for my own role that I played in my financial situation. So the moment that I kind of woke myself up and called myself out on my own bullshit and actually took control of the things that I could control was the moment that I started seeing real progress and real change in my life. And there is no way that I would be where I am today if I didn't do that. And that's not to invalidate any kind of feeling of where you're starting in life. Like we all are dealt different cards from the very beginning. Some people have more advantages than others. That's just the reality of it. But if you allow yourself to get swept up in all the things you can't do about your circumstances, then it's just going to feel really hard to make any kind of progress in the direction that you want to go. And this is definitely not to sound like super, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, just work harder. But if you can take ownership and call yourself out on the things that you can take control over, that maybe in the past you felt too afraid or too uncomfortable to do, then you are doing so much better than you think, believe me. This is where I want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Pair Eyewear. I got laser eye surgery about 10 years ago, but guess what? Mama needs reading glasses. Feel like a hot librarian. Okay, but no, so Pair Eyewear reached out. I have heard of them before, and they are really, really cool because they offer a ton of high quality, affordable, and customizable frames where they have their cost per wear maxing on point because you can interchange the styles. Look at this. I actually think I like this better. I think I actually need some more high contrast on my face now that I'm looking at the clear frames. So basically all you do is you go online and you choose your base pair. This one is called the Wanda. And something that I found so helpful, especially because I have a tiny head, is that you can narrow down your search by size and bridge width. And their virtual try-on feature was so helpful in finding a pair that would actually work for my face. And then you can choose your magnetic toppers. Like, that is so cool. And you don't even need to buy another pair of sunglasses because they offer sun toppers too. And I thought I was being really like edgy and interesting with these ones. And if you want to check them out yourself, you can use my code, which I'll leave down in the description. And if you do use it, you get a free gift with purchase. I don't know why I'm like obsessed with switching these out. It's so fun. But even if you are able to call yourself out on a little bit of BS, this next thing is a huge sign that tells me you're doing a lot better than you think you are. And it is, once you know what action you need to take, you stop taking shortcuts. And this is not to say that you need to be inefficient, but what I am saying is that slow and steady consistency always wins. Like, in whatever goal you want to reach, whatever habit you want to build, you stop looking for hacks and you just start focusing on doing the thing instead. Like, nobody wants to hear that to get your dream physique, you might have to be in the gym consistently for years. Or like when I committed to paying off my debt, it took me less than 15 minutes to sign on the dotted line for an over $100,000 loan, but I wasn't prepared for the reality that it was gonna take me over 6 years to pay it off in the end. And if I didn't get my shit together with money, it was gonna take me double that. So if you can accept that for a lot of things, especially the good things, they come to those who wait, then you're doing a lot better than you think you are. And this next one is one that took me a really long time to figure out and to learn, but if you can do this, you're rocking it. And it is that you trust yourself. Specifically when it comes to how you spend your money and what you buy. I like to call it trusting in your taste. And to me, it's a sign that you actually know yourself, you have confidence in what you like, and you don't really need to justify it to anybody else but you. I trust in the taste of whatever is happening in this little makeshift Chipotle bowl, but wearing white while eating it is a choice. And this is something that actually took me so much longer to learn than I want to admit, because I loved letting social media tell me what was cool. But let me tell you, I started saving so much money the moment that I just started trusting in what I liked and sticking to that. And I think when you trust your taste, that's where that whole aura of effortlessness comes from. But I also want to say here, especially when it comes to things like style, you're doing a lot better than you think you are if you stop yucking on other people's yum. My style might not be your style, but it's okay. You can understand why it might make somebody else feel good. And I think that's really cool. Okay, and this brings me into the next thing that tells me you are doing so much better than 99% of people, and that is simply that you think before you act. Okay, but basically what I mean by this is that you just think before you do something. You weigh the pros, the cons, there's some thought behind your decision making, and you consider basically the consequences of your own actions. And these don't have to be things that are like crazy or life altering. It's more that you just think about the consequences of even your everyday decisions. Like, I have a little song and dance in my brain every single morning when I'm getting up to go to the gym. I always want to sleep in, and sometimes I'm even just like, ugh, I really don't want to work out. I just don't feel like it. But if I can tap into, okay, but how are you going to feel when you skip it? You're probably going to feel really sluggish and guilty all day long because you bailed on your workout. Then you're going to feel like you're wasting money because you're paying for your gym membership. And even being able to predict the consequence of actually following through with the decision. So if I do go to the gym when I really don't actually want to, I'm gonna feel amazing. I'm gonna feel energized. I'm gonna feel so proud of myself. Whereas a lot of people just kind of let their emotions control their response to things. So I think you can confidently say that you're doing a lot better than you think you are if you're just thinking about your decisions before you make them. I just like to think about it in a way that you're considering your future self. where I think most of us are just caught up in the moment and thinking about how we're gonna feel 5 minutes from now instead of in the next decade, in the next month, or sometimes even in the next hour. And since you're already thinking about your future self, this next one is going to sound so ridiculously small, but statistically, it does put you ahead of a lot of people. And that is you have $400 in savings. Now, I know that does sound like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money, but 37% of Americans cannot cover a $400 emergency without having to use a credit card. So if you have that amount of money set aside for a rainy day to cover an unexpected vet emergency, your car breaking down, then you're doing a lot better than you think you are. In fact, if you're even thinking about saving for an emergency fund, whether it be that $400, 1 month of living expenses, or eventually the recommended 3 to 6 months, then you are doing great. Because you're thinking about your future self. Not only are you providing yourself a bit of a financial safety net, but you're also actively working towards reducing the amount of stress that comes with those emergencies. And if you don't have that set aside, then my recommendation would be to just start automating a little bit of money every single time you get paid. Whether it be $10, $20, whatever you can afford, starting somewhere is always going to be better than starting with nothing. And automation just guarantees that you're consistent. Which brings me into the next sign that you're doing so much better than you think you are. And believe me, this took me years to even get on my radar. And that is that you simply know where your money is going. If you're paying attention to your money and tracking it, then you are way ahead of the game. For a lot of people, it's easier to just put your head in the sand and have like an avoidant attachment style with your finances. But believe me, the more you face it, the more you track it, the more you're going to understand it, and you're also going to understand yourself. You're likely going to find a lot of opportunities in your budget to reach your financial goals, and you're going to get such a better understanding of why you spend where you do. And that to me is one of the keys that a lot of people miss when it comes to unlocking true money confidence. And if you want to get started with the habit of budgeting, I do have my own template that I have linked down below in every single one of my videos. No pressure at all. The best budget is the one that you actually use, but I do think that mine is very cute. And I also added things like an emotional spending tracker and a mood tracker, so you can also unlock your patterns when it comes to when you're spending and why you're spending. You guys are loving it, so I think it's pretty good. Most people will dismiss budgeting as too boring or like I'm not rich enough to budget. Believe me, everybody needs a budget, and it is boring, but it is one of the best habits you can do if you want to improve your money. So if you're already doing it, chef's kiss, you're killing it. This next one I want to talk about as I reorganize my monthly makeup capsule. And this is for the people who have been told pretty much their entire lives, like me, that they are too hard on themselves. So if you do this next thing, you're doing great. And that is the fact that you can hold empathy for others, but now you can also hold it for yourself. But it took a lot of work, and it took a lot of having to catch myself when I was in the middle of especially self-deprecating or just overly perfectionistic self-talk. Like I would say that I have an inner critic that I have basically named my drill sergeant, who always kind of tells me that I should be doing more, or like, why did you do this? You're lazy, you're this, you're that. And I relied on that inner critic for years of my life because it worked. Like that kind of self-talk got me good grades in school. It got me through pharmacy school. It got me my career. It even kickstarted my debt-free journey. So for years, I felt like I needed that in order to be successful. So it took me a lot of time to learn that I could be honest with myself, but I could also be kind at the same time. And I slowly but surely started learning to be kinder to myself, to talk more nicely to myself, and to also acknowledge that, hey, what you're doing is really hard. You know, it would make sense that you're tired, or that you need to take some rest, or that it's taking longer than you thought. So if you're working on things like self-compassion and being kinder to yourself, you're doing great. Discipline is necessary and discipline is hard, but it doesn't have to be mean. I'm almost done this lip liner. I'm so excited. This is the makeup bag for the month. If you follow me on TikTok and Instagram, that's when I usually do these little breakdowns. But let me know if you want a video of my entire makeup collection. Now, if you're doing this one, then I say to you,
fall for you, Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco.
Because it would leave most people wanting for more. But if you find satisfaction in this, then you're doing great. And that is, you kind of love your boring life. As in, you embrace the mundane, you find joy in the mundane every day, and you don't wait for the big things to happen in life to be happy. And it doesn't mean that you don't want those things for yourself. Like, it doesn't mean that you don't want to go on big trips and have the big events in your life and do all that kind of cool, glamorous stuff that social media really likes to see people flexing, and that's what they think true happiness is all about. But you find a lot of contentment and gratitude in the little things that you do every day. And I gotta say, for me, as a professional, boring person who loves routine, if I'm honest, that's when I feel my best. And I actually look forward to those little daily routines every single week. I look forward to going to the gym. I look forward to making my coffee in the morning. I look forward to sitting down and filming a YouTube video in the apartment. Like, nothing epic has to happen here. So if you're able to remind yourself that life is truly made up of the little things, then you're doing great. But if you're looking to level up even more, then watch this video next where I show you that building discipline can be even easier than scrolling YouTube. And I mean, the video's right here. It's pretty easy. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.